Well, good morning and welcome to another edition of the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I'm the poorly centered your host, there we go. I'm sort of centered. But welcome to another action-packed weekend of NFL action. I know there are other sports. I know that there are a few of you out there watching that are like, how come you don't cover MMA? And how come you don't cover baseball? Listen. Matt covers the crap out of baseball, first of all. The MAZZ is like Mr. Baseball, aren't you?
Good morning. I love baseball.
Exactly. He's Mr. Baseball.
We had a week left. Yankees Red Sox last night.
Yes, I know.
Was a good
it
one.
Was huge. Stanton, 450-foot, a grand slam to, pretty much go-ahead run to the game and all that. But
I still say the Yankees don't make the playoffs.
Okay, but still. But it's football season, and we're in it. It's week 3. We're like in it. We're up to our neck in it. We're after it. Crazy stuff has happened. No, I do not want to talk about the Dolphins absolutely laying an egg and shitting the bed. We got to get that in the right way. Shit the bed and laid an egg at the same time. I know that.
Have they scored yet?
No. I can probably play left tackle better than Austin Jackson, at least for 4 or 5 plays. I'm fat and old, and I can at least on the very first play of the friggin' game, I won't let a guy run free and kill me. So. Oh, and of course, first thing that happens after I start, my phone starts to blow up. Thank you. So, no, we're not going to discuss that. I am going to discuss some various subjects that are coming across the wire that people are getting a little hyped up about. A guy who I have always had begrudging hatred and love for at the same time, Tom Brady, a guy who's been playing in the NFL for 35 years.
With a tampon.
However you want.
We have to mention that every time.
He uses it to polish his
some
trophies.
people don't catch the whole show, and I usually mention that later in the show.
I'm not a fanboy from way back, but I am a fanboy. Tons of respect for the guy,
Me
Tom
too.
Brady.
Me too.
Because he stepped up and said a little something. Which he's got a little cred in this department.
He has a dog in the fight. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, because he's been around the NFL, like I said, for 35 years, or 74 years. I don't know how old is he. Is he 62?
Him and Danny Almonte went to the same birth certificate place to go ahead and get their birth dates verified.
Right. I believe he began his career getting chased around by Lawrence Taylor. For crying out loud.
He's been around a while,
and that may not be too far off of a joke, but. He came out and pretty much declared the NFL soft.
He said the NFL is getting softer.
Soft.
Yeah, he said the NFL is getting softer. When I first heard him say that, I was like, okay, interesting. It makes sense, right?
Or as they say in Massachusetts, you're wicked soft.
Yeah, you're soft. It makes sense. I mean, the rules have changed in the way that now everybody is pro offense. You can't, hit a guy. You can't touch a guy.
Well, that's the entertainment.
Not just your high position player guys like a quarterback and stuff like that. Obviously you got to protect your quarterbacks, but even on the back end in the secondary, you can't hit a guy above the shoulders. You can't hit a guy below the knee. You can't touch a guy after 5 yards. I mean, all these different rules are in place to promote offense because you want scoring in the NFL. It's exciting. You want points. But Brady pointed it out. He said,
it's butts and seats.
He says the NFL is getting soft or has gotten softer. Again, first take on that was like, he's probably right. But be careful. Because then I thought about it, and I'm saying to myself, well, who makes up the NFL? Well, the players make up the NFL. So that's me. I've heard that guy before. Just be careful, because if you say that the game is getting softer, that means that the participants are getting softer too. And I don't think they're getting softer. I just think their leashes are getting tighter. Okay, football's a year-round sport. We know. We've seen these athletes get bigger, stronger, faster.
Sure.
There'd be fatalities if they didn't make at least some modifications to the game. Okay, and like you said, get people in the seats. You want to put your best product on the field. You don't want to have backups by week 5 out there leading their teams. So honestly, I think overall, maybe the NFL, in terms of how they approach the physicality of the game, they're trying to protect the players. But every week we see guys get blown up. Every week we see guys almost get carted off on carts, for injuries and such like that. The game itself is still a very physical, dangerous game. But I'm okay.
There should be 72 guys on the rosters. There should be 72 guys on the rosters.
Maybe they should expand the rosters, but I'm okay.
They expanded the practice squad. I mean, the practice squad is now 16 members instead of 8.
Well, I think some of that too is COVID related because they understand they're going to have.
But I think they're going to keep it.
Well, they should, because again,
75 players.
Football is a brutal sport, and granted, it has changed a little bit. Maybe again, protecting particular players like your quarterbacks. But again, that's also led to some of the success of some of these guys. Maybe not Brady as the example, but in terms of the mobile quarterbacks, more quarterbacks are getting out of the pocket and they're making plays out of the pocket. Why? Sure. Because they probably feel a little more comfortable doing so. Because they know they're not going to get blown up on the sideline. How many times do you see Lamar Jackson, for example? The guy's running down the field full speed, maybe the fastest guy in the field, and in the back of your mind, you have to be careful hitting that guy.
Yeah.
Advantage offense.
Oh, yeah.
Advantage offense. Because the offense knows where he's going.
Sure.
The defensive guy has to adjust. And you can't just adjust by position. You have to adjust with physicality. And there's the big hits and stuff like that. So the game has changed, yes. They're protecting their players, yes. It is pro offense, yes. But I don't necessarily think that they're getting softer. I just think that the game has evolved. Let's use this as an example. We talked about this before the show. Dana White and what he did to the UFC. He completely revolutionized that sport and made it appealing and marketable. Why? Because he protected his athletes. They made rules. They put stuff in place so that there was structure, there was testing, there was other things to keep
It was called straight up cage fights.
Because that's what it was. And women would turn their eyes. They were like, oh, and even some men turned their eyes.
You ever notice that in their broadcasting, they never use the term cage? It's always the octagon. Okay. He has changed
the entire brand.
Yeah, the entire brand.
And he's made it
friggin' genius.
Ultra successful. And again, he's done so. Why? Because they protect the athletes. Because you want to have your best
structure and
there.
organization. He made his uncivilized sport more civilized.
He made it culpable, palpable. Now people watch it. They enjoy it. They can sell it.
He did it much quicker than the NFL did. Because let us recall, not only the NFL, but college football as well. College football used to be much more popular than the NFL. The NFL used to be some sort of,
There was a dark time for the NFL.
It was the first
early 80s and mid 80s.
30 years of its existence was a dark time.
Well, certainly, but
okay, up until the 60s and 70s. But the NFL used to be super brutal. Like college football used to be super brutal. Okay? And it eventually evolved in time because I think the big evolution came with its, the coming of the television contract. You put it in front of millions of people instead of thousands of people at the game and maybe tens of thousands of people on local television. Now you're putting that sucker on in front of millions of people.
You have the highest ratings in any slot, the NFL does. And it always has for many years.
You're not going to be able to watch sanctioned murder on the field. It used to be the athletes used to be throwaways from other more prestigious sports. Like we were saying, NFL players used to work a job in the off season. They used to be a guard and a plumber.
He had two jobs.
Used to be a linebacker and a professional wrestler.
A lot of sports were like that many years.
Right.
The thing is, again, it ultimately comes down to putting your best product on the field. And people want to watch excellence.
And it's entertainment.
They don't want to watch
a lot of money for that shit.
They don't want to watch mediocre. And they don't want to watch average. They don't want to watch just guys going about their business. They want to watch the stars. You want to see Brady. You want to see Prescott. You want to see the best guys out there playing. You don't want those guys hurt.
Okay, well, here's a good one for you. Here's a comparison, okay? Audience reactions, okay? When there's a blindside sack at home, the home team pulls off a blindside sack, kills the quarterback.
Everybody goes crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Then turn around, the same home team, same crowd, and there's a 75-yard touchdown run up the gut, untouched, ripping down the field, which is a bigger roar, which is a more longer roar, a more sustained roar.
Well, football is a violent sport.
Right.
That's part of the reason why we gravitate
the big
towards football.
hit gets a pop, but the big touchdown gets a sustained reaction for a longer time. Because, I mean, you have the play, and the celebration after the play, and the touchdown. And I mean, it's just, there's a whole long process. So the NFL, like the NBA, our good friends at the National Basketball Association, also logo-driven marketing. I've been taking a lot of marketing lately.
It shows.
Yeah, it shows. It really does. My head hurts all the time. They figured out that the more you score, the more entertaining the game is.
Sure.
Because, I mean, when we were kids and we went to basketball games, it was like a fist fight with a basketball. You know, run down. I mean, it really was.
Yeah, it was a physical game.
You know,
but the thing is, too, you mentioned 2 years ago being so physical. The athletes, too, weren't as big as they were today,
No.
too. I mean, your offensive, defensive linemen were 250, 260.
Right.
Now they're 350 and 360.
Right.
And they move the same as the guy that was 250 and 260.
I remember in Miami when Richmond Webb came to town, when Richmond Webb was brought on. And this is an era where they had drafted Dwight Stevenson out of Alabama, and then they drafted Richmond Webb and Keith Sims in the same draft. And these were the first 3 guys that started topping that 260, 270, 280, 300.
Yeah, big guys.
You know, I mean, so when you got guys like Sims and Webb who immediately become the largest linemen in Miami Dolphins history, because before it was Ed Newman and Bob Kuchenberg, and these guys were, you know, one became a judge and the other one became a real estate developer.
Yeah.
You know, and they were both 250, 260. You know, brawny guys, burly guys, 6'1", 6'2". You know, but you know, they didn't have a gut. And they didn't have a big ass.
They were the evolution of physical sports science in
Right.
sports.
Right.
Well, think about
Because-
that now. I mean, we're going back to differences, and here's just a quick anatomy lesson. Muscle weighs 3 times more than fat.
Yes.
So these
Yes, it
guys
does.
are 330, 340, and they have 40, 50 pounds more of muscle that their predecessors had
Shirt. I gotta
20 and 30 years ago. So it's, you know, the
I'm
game has
three-quarters
changed.
muscle.
The game has changed, and the players have gotten better and faster and stronger. So you got to protect the guys out there to some degree. Guys are still going to get hurt, but you want your best guys on the field
Right.
every week.
My point of comparison was this. I was at a Dolphins event, and there was Bob Kuchenberg, who was still in his mid-40s, okay, and there was Richmond Webb, who was like a rookie. And Richmond Webb was a friggin' tree. And here's Bob, not a small guy, not tiny. I mean, he had lost weight because he didn't have
Sure.
to lift weights or, you know, maintain his power. But here's Bob, this middle-aged dude, little pot belly, about 240, 230, 240. And here's Richmond Webb, this
Mountain of
just
a man.
tree.
Yeah.
And not fat. Not fat. He didn't have a belly. Okay? But he was just this tree of humanity. And dude, at the time I was 6'5", myself, 6'4", 6'5". I was in my early 20s. And I was like, and then you see Keith Sims. Now Keith's a little thicker. Keith Sims walks in, and he's also got a big personality. So he kind of sucked the air out of the room, literally.
Each breath.
Yeah, each breath.
Yeah.
6'4", 330 pounds.
You know
Once
what?
again, not a fat guy, but just thicky thick and a monster.
Yeah, by watching these guys on TV, you can't really appreciate their size. And part of the reason is because, 1, they're on TV, but 2, because they're amongst their peers. All those guys are big.
I mean, you ain't a little dude either.
If
I'm
the
not a little
Broncos
dude.
offensive lineman walked into Walmart,
Right.
you would get out of the way. All
Yeah,
right,
sure.
because they would stand out.
I'd be like, somebody's in trouble.
Yeah, they would stand out. I mean, they're just they're
It's the Brute Squad.
They're big humans. So the game has changed. The game has evolved.
I am the
Faster,
Brute Squad.
stronger. They got to protect their commodities.
Yeah,
That's
no
how this
doubt,
works.
no doubt about it.
So,
But yeah, it's scoring is the entertainment, and the entertainment gets the big pop. Period.
Sure.
Okay. So another quarterback has been continually making headlines.
Oh my
he is your favorite. He's your boy.
Man.
It's your pal.
Man, is he good. Aaron Rodgers. That team is going to go far this year. Traveling-wise, their schedule's brutal. A lot of airtime.
Aaron Jeremiah Rodgers. I don't know if his middle name is.
Shut up, Aaron. Shut up.
Shut up.
Here's a guy that preaches Zen and silence and meditation.
Sit up straight when you give this guy some
and
grief.
all these other things that he's been talking about or not
Your
talking
chin's
about.
Look, your chin's dropping out of the frame. Sit up straight when you're yelling at this guy.
I got something to say about him. Shut up, Aaron, please. You know the one guy you haven't heard in this the last 4 or 5 weeks has been Brian Gutekunst, the GM of the Packers. Why? Because
Sir, that's still a dirty word. I'm telling you.
he's letting Aaron just keep going, and just every conference now, it's this guy, it's that guy, it's my fault, it's not my fault, it's the team, it's I want my buddies around me. Shut up, Aaron Rodgers, play football. We all said it. The issue is when you got one foot out the door, the other foot's not far behind. And it's going to be very hard for them to get through any sort of adversity if they face it, and they will, to get on the other side and be successful.
It's going to start sounding like an early 70s Fern Bar pseudo country, like a Glenn Campbell song, like Denver is calling me.
Please.
He is so bound for Denver, it's not even funny.
And I get that. But again,
And I feel bad for Teddy Bridgewater because he's kind of kicking ass right
he's
now.
on the clock, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Listen, if Denver goes far this year with Teddy, they may reconsider. They may.
he's really expensive. He's $46 million.
And that's the thing. He's not going to take a pay cut because that's not who Aaron is. Aaron's going to get paid.
And he won't shut his pie hole.
You know what? There's a lot of stuff that comes out after, obviously. You don't hear a lot of stuff when guys are in the league still. And I guarantee you that, even because you're starting to hear some of it now from some former players. So if you're starting to get some of it now from some of the former players that played with Aaron and other either opponents or coaches, again, leaks are starting to creep in. And the guy's he's still on the field. What's going to happen when he's done? And his Twitter handle is not important anymore, and because nobody's going to care about Aaron. People are going to be coming out and telling you stories about this guy. I don't think he's a good teammate. I don't think he's easy to get along with. I don't think he's coachable. All these things.
He's a diva. No, he's a diva. Listen, I dig it. I'm right there with you. Look for who is it? Aaron? It's Jake Sternberger or whatever it was, the tight end that they drafted in the 3rd round a couple of years ago. That's never caught on there in Green Bay. And look for Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams has had a little salt for him. Okay, Jamal's been a little salty.
Now, here's the thing. Aaron has boys. Okay, he has his boys. Okay, but it's not a big circle because he's not that guy.
Right.
Okay, he's not the guy to walk into a room and go shake everybody's hand.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that you have to be that guy. But if you're not that guy, you better be other things, okay? You better be at least
useful.
That, and you better be also approachable. Maybe you're not the guy that has to go and put his hand out first, but they're teammates, okay? You work together. This is a family. This is what NFL is. So he's not that guy either. So when you start putting all these things together, what happens is relationships run their course. And clearly the Packer relationship with him has run its course. And the way they treated him per se, how they handled the drafting of Jordan Love and not telling him and the faulty relationship.
I told you it was a civil divorce.
Yeah.
And why is it a civil divorce?
Aaron has culpability in this, and my guess is probably a lot of it. Okay.
Well, okay, so Aaron is the wife. Okay, and the wife, because the household doesn't run well without the wife, let's face facts, and the kids are still there. They haven't gone off to college. They haven't moved out of the house. And the house will be perpetual. They have decided to get back together and have one more run until the kids get out of the house. And there's another foster kid coming up.
I think they were stuck. I don't think they had a choice at this point. They weren't going to cut him, and he wasn't just going to not play,
right?
Because he wanted to some degree with his mentality. And I get this was a stick.
Thompson told Gutekunst, "Shut up, let him shout himself out. This whole season is going to be on him. The whole everything good and bad that happens to that franchise right now, it's all on Aaron Rodgers. He knows that. That's why he's getting his pound of flesh out right now. Because I can guarantee you, wherever he goes after this, he's going to keep that pie hole shut.
Oh, he's going to have to.
Okay?
Yeah, he's going to have to.
He's getting his shots in now because he's going to keep his pie hole shut and he's going to be very focused on winning Super Bowls.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he finds success in Denver because he's still an elite quarterback.
He
That's
may
not the
end up
debate
in Miami
here.
for crying
or
out
wherever
loud.
he ends up, and then
We
you'll
keep breaking quarterbacks.
And then I'm going to be curious to see if he does keep his pie hole shut because that'll tell the character of somebody. Is if now that you're out of that scene and out of that picture, you have the courage. It's almost like the Facebook warriors. They're like, oh, look at me, I can this and that because you can't see me or touch me.
Right.
But now that I'm in your building, well then, hey, okay, this is a different guy now. I wonder if he's going to be throwing mud as he's walking out the door because
sure.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be good for Aaron. That's not good for Aaron's brand. That's not good for Aaron.
It doesn't matter to him.
Well, unfortunately,
it does not matter to him one bit.
Then he deserves what he has coming, essentially.
Right.
So,
and I mean, is Aaron Rodgers going to go insinuate himself in San Francisco when they have Trey Lance on the bench? He is the quarterback in waiting.
the heir apparent.
The heir apparent?
Yeah.
No, he's not going to go. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is barely holding on there.
Unfortunately,
he is the. And we'll segue back to him in a minute. But I think that Aaron Rodgers. This is, like I said, this is the last run divorce until the kids go to college. Okay, and then when kids go to college, then Dad's going to stay in the house. He's going to get a new girlfriend. His name is Jordan. He is going to start the household all over again.
Yeah, well, they move on. They have to move on.
The new kids are still going to be the same kids, which are the fans of Green Bay.
Fortunately for Green Bay, we've talked about that division is not very strong.
And Mom is going to surrender some great parting gifts in the divorce.
Well, either way, this year Green Bay wins that division because they're very, very weak. The Bears are showing a little bit of moxie. They've got a good run defense.
Go Lions!
The Bears are strong up front on defense, so they'll stay in some
Vikings.
games. But they're going to struggle at the quarterback position again because they are. Rookie quarterbacks typically do.
Okay.
So they'll get there. But again, Aaron, what you're seeing now is it almost seems like week after week, or even more than that, because he seems to be on TV every day talking about something, his podcast or his shows, and it's always
underwear.
It's always defer. It's always defer. It's always not me. It's always this. It's always that,
Right.
or whatever the case. So, again, Packers will struggle this year. They'll look good at times because the opposition is weak by nature. And they may win 10 or 11 games. They probably win the division. But when it comes playoff time and everybody's got their best foot forward, I just don't think Green Bay is going to be in the mix.
The dude was such a diva. Olivia Munn broke up with him. Do you know who Olivia Munn is?
I'm familiar with the actress. Yes.
Well, okay, so let's segue off of him and go back to another related story, and that was how when we're back to Shanahan and Lynch out in San Francisco.
You mentioned Garoppolo.
And we mentioned
the
Garoppolo.
Niners. Okay,
but
and the importance of having a marriage.
There was also a bit of a kerfuffle, almost like they were cheating, that San Francisco inquired on how to maybe acquire Mr. Mr. Mouthy to come out to San Francisco. And this was before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And Green Bay turned down a offer of 3 first-round draft choices, including the number 3 this year. So Trey Lance could very easily be in Green Bay competing with Jordan Love for the starting quarterback job, and they turned it down.
Yes, they did.
They dropped the rock. I'm telling you right now, they dropped a huge rock. So back to Mr. Garoppolo, the forgotten guy. And it's stunning to me because, I mean,
they keep trying to push this guy out the door.
Jimmy G is a good-looking dude.
You know what Jimmy should have done?
Jimmy G is like a rock star, good-looking dude.
Jimmy should have walked
movie star.
into Kyle's office and said, hey, by the way, what are these numbers? 7 and 27. And then Kyle would have went, wait, let me check my books. Is it a play? He would have said, no, that's your record without me.
Yeah.
He goes, that's your record without the guy that you've tried to push out the door now for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the guy who got you to within a play of the Super Bowl of getting a ring.
Yeah.
That's the guy who you drafted a first-round quarterback to replace, and you wanted to go get this guy out in Green Bay who's an effing diva to replace me. But yet, just put this on your desk, 7 and 27, that's who you are without me.
Right.
And then turned around and went back to the practice field.
Exactly.
Okay, now, again, is Jimmy Garoppolo a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers? Maybe per se, probably not. Okay, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to have a better career potentially than Jordan Love may have? Maybe not. But I can tell you that he wins football games now. And then I can tell you that he's the one who got you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think you should be a little bit more careful upon trying to
on his name.
The grass is greener approach. Okay,
put a little respect on his name.
It may not be that green on the other side. Just be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying.
Let me tell you something about Jimmy G. Okay, first of all,
and they like him, and the players like him.
right?
And everybody in the locker room likes him.
That was the first thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
In the locker room, he gets maximum respect.
Yeah, Steelers will take him.
Offensive side, defensive side. Oh, yeah, he could end up in Pittsburgh. You never know.
I'll take him.
Jimmy G is an outstanding quarterback, and Jimmy G has been getting nothing but disrespect, especially the last 3 years. Okay? So when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, you're going to see him go somewhere, and you're going to see him succeed. Whether that be Denver, whether that be, I don't know, New Orleans. Peyton is not going to have any patience for Jameis Winston if he starts throwing picks again, which he sort of showed his face, last week.
He will at times. That's who he is. All right.
Yeah.
It's not like 3 games. You're like, is he going to throw?
Right.
He's going to throw you.
Jimmy G, and I can tell you from personal experience, because this is how desperate Shanahan is. There's been several occasions in the last 3 seasons when Jimmy G is just coming off of an injury, and he threw him out there. Or Jimmy G was doubtful, and he started. He sucked it up. He went to the needle. He wrapped it up, rubbed some dirt on it, spit on it, and walked it off. Okay? He's a tough guy. Okay, and I can see at least 3 or 4 of those losses where Shanahan wheeled him out there, or he's just sucked it up and went out there. I mean, he came off of a 6-week injury against the Miami Dolphins when their defense was popping, and he got sacrificed.
Yeah.
Okay, he got sacrificed, like as bad or worse than the ass beating that Tua took last week. Okay, they sacked him like 4 or 5 times. They hit him like 10, 12 times until they yanked him out at the beginning of the fourth or the end of the third quarter. They yanked him out of there because they were like, he's getting killed. But the guy went in there. He completed some long passes, some intermediate passes. He balled as best he could. But he was thrown to the wolves. Same situation against the Rams 2 years ago. Thrown to the wolves. Okay, because I don't even see. Okay, I'll take that back. Not thrown to the wolves, but he sucked it up and he went out there for his team. So I tell you right now, the dude's going to get maximum respect wherever he goes.
Yeah, if he goes anywhere at this point,
he's going to go.
I mean, Jordan Love was the sign, but again, he still has to produce. And obviously, if they do trade for Aaron, then it's a done deal.
Jordan Love, right now in his current form, with the small sample size that I've seen with him, mediocre.
I don't know.
Mediocre, but he could have some stuff I don't know about. Then again, I saw Aaron Rodgers for 3 years on the bench behind Brett Favre, and he was the king of preseason, and he still sucked. But the minute he got to start, he killed it. So.
Narrative drives anything,
right.
but a narrative is created by an individual, and it shocks me again with the body of work from Garoppolo. Right. That you can't recreate the narrative for him, because it seems like it's like, oh, here's his narrative. Well, he's injury prone. Well, there's a lot of players that you could put into that category.
A ton.
I'm not a guy that says that anybody is injury prone. And you say that because the guy's hurt. Now, that's an easy conclusion. The guy's hurt, so now he's injury prone. No, the guy's hurt because he got mauled by a 350-pound lineman. That's why he's hurt. He's hurt
small bear.
Because his leg snapped in half. Okay, that's why he's hurt. Okay, is that he's injury prone? No, he had a big man fall on his leg and break it. Okay, it's football. Okay, yeah, this isn't water polo. Okay, so injury prone. Okay, great. Only a football term is injury prone. So
this ain't tennis.
I mean, come on. So that aside, recreate the narrative by this guy's ability to lead his team, win games, get you to the Super Bowl, not make mistakes, all this other stuff. Why is it that when you have other quarterbacks in other teams, you can create systems for them, you could redo offenses for them, coaches get fired for players not performing well because you think the next guy in can make this guy better? Okay, with that being said, you already got a guy, and you're the greatest coach in the league, according to yourself. So why can't you get this guy to go 35-7 instead of only 26-7 or whatever his record is?
He thinks so.
I mean, it's crazy. So listen, I'll take him as a Steeler fan. I know Ben's got one half a good foot out the door. So move on. Make the trade for Jimmy. Bring him to Pittsburgh. We'd love to have him in Pittsburgh. I'll take Jimmy.
And he's Italian.
And he's Italian. So you can't go wrong there.
There's still like 4 million Italians that live in Pittsburgh. You know, I mean, they'll show up. Listen, you had Franco's Italian army. It wasn't because Franco Harris was Italian. You know,
listen,
it really
bring
wasn't.
Jimmy in and give him 5% of the Primanti family business.
Have I ever told you I met Franco Harris in Las Vegas?
No, never told me.
I didn't tell you that story the whole time we were in Las Vegas.
No Franco Harris stories.
I
ever.
met Franco Harris. I shook his hand. He was at a blackjack table. He was at the $100 blackjack table playing $100 a hand.
What were you doing there?
Well, I was sneaking around.
All right, go.
But I was like, I went to my friend Buck. I was like, that looks like Franco Harris. He goes, well, could be. I walk over. It's Franco Harris. I said, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" So I was like, "Nice to meet you. Real honor. You were one of the goats. It's Franco Harris." And he shook. I was okay. Don't mean to bother you while you're playing. Some guy comes up on the other side of him and starts like jibber jabbering in Italian. And he turns to the guy and he goes, "I'm not Italian."
Really?
Like,
wow. Interesting. Did you tell Franco that ball actually hit the turf?
No.
You didn't tell him
I
that?
wasn't going to do that.
Okay.
No.
Because that would change history.
Because I hate the Raiders.
Immaculate reception.
Which, by the way, suck it, Raiders. I'd go Dolphins.
If they had replay, they would have called that back, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that would have been brutal, right?
I mean, what clip would we have seen to open up inside the NFL every Sunday or whatever? Then it is that immaculate reception. Steve Sable would have probably been replaced.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's going to be the story. And if Jimmy G goes to Pittsburgh, look out.
I'll take him.
And you're going to be insufferable.
I'll take him.
As for and just to touch on the Miami Dolphins situation before we go on to our analysis of DFS, which we're going to get into DFS today, it may be time. It may be time. If the Miami Dolphins front office has not already made the inquiries about the Deshaun Watson situation, about the legal ramifications, about what's going on with him, what the league investigation is. We've always speculated that people know in the league what the status of the investigation by the league is.
He's done.
And that's the reason why nobody has gone forward
he's done.
and said, here's a 4th-round draft choice for the guy. Here's some sort of compensation in any way, shape, or form for the guy. Because somebody knows something.
I've never seen the vein
told
on Flores' head until the last press conference he had. And he was like, no, we don't want Jimmy.
Tua, I hate to say it, but Tua looks like he's a little brittle. It does. He looks like he's a little brittle. A lot of people seem to forget that also during last year, he was out 2 games. After he had that run of 3 starts, he won his first 3 games. He was out injured for 2 games. Okay, he was out hurt for 2 games.
Yeah, Fitz had to come back.
Okay, Fitz had to come back in.
Yeah.
So
that got Fitz a contract.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to. Nobody is cheering harder for number 1 than I am. Nobody is cheering out Ohana, Gobra, okay, Shaka Bra. Fuck, I can't speak any sort of Hawaiian or Samoan without actually dropping an F-bomb. But
I said it coming into the year with Pro Football Focus
brittle.
And how much work those guys do. They had him coming in ranked dead last, and I had said even marginal improvement, which you would hope for at least with a second-year guy.
Middle of the pack.
Maybe. I mean, it's when you're looking up at every other quarterback in terms of the ranking. I get it; they're just rankings.
It's time.
I mean, I'm pulling for the kid too, but there's so many parallels.
It's time to make a formal inquiry. It's time to work your connections.
Here's what I'll say: is Tua will not be the first Alabama quarterback to make his mark in the NFL. So
there's too many of them now.
Well, no,
there's too many.
Well, we've argued this, and I've argued this from the beginning. Alabama and quarterbacks don't go together. They go together in college, but they don't really translate to the pros.
I mean, come on, A.J. McCarron.
There's a lot. When you're in those sorts of programs, and half your schedules are Charleston Southerns and whatever else, and I understand it's Alabama. They do play SEC football. It's like when you have NFL players around you already at that level, and you're so much better than your opponent, obviously, and you're winning every game, 30, 40 points, Where is the competition level? Where's the
Hurts
growing?
Hurts and Jones are going to be outstanding quarterbacks. They really are.
We'll see. We'll see.
They are.
Okay, well, we'll see. Yeah, and Tua was going to be outstanding
listen,
too,
and
he hasn't
there's
been
nothing
outstanding.
to say that Tua might not. Listen. First of all, his entire body of work. Okay, the kid has got 10 wins in the NFL under his belt. 10. Okay, as a starter, he's 10-3. Okay, let's face that reality.
Okay.
He's 10-3. His game management and his ability to convert on third down with the short and intermediate pass, there was the reason why they beat New England. Okay, he's 10-3, and we saw New England's got a friggin' great defense.
They're pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he kept those Wolves at bay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not saying that the kid isn't capable. I am saying I'm now leaning more towards the side of, yeah, he's kind of brittle. He is what I railed against in 2019 when everybody was, Stephen Ross was like, oh, we got to have Tua, and everybody's like, oh, well, if we don't have the top 3 pick in the draft, or we don't have the top pick, we're not getting Tua. Okay, and I can tell you right now, as I sit here, nobody wishes more than Tua had stayed healthy and was now starting for the Cincinnati Bengals, and Joe Burrow was starting for the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. Nobody is wishing that more than me.
Yeah, well, that's your
okay.
That's over. So
that's
not happening.
Duh.
Yeah, Cincinnati's got the quarterback.
It's a matter of the kid's capable, but I just don't think right now he's not tough enough to do it. It may take 3 or 4 years for him to get into the physical condition.
He won't be around
to be able
that
to
long
handle
if
hits.
He's not playing.
And he got smoked, dude. Okay,
yeah.
the kid got smoked. He got killed.
Yeah.
Okay, and the shot that took him out was the 4th time he got hit.
Yeah.
Okay,
he got hit on the first 2 passes.
Right.
I mean, what's going on there in the offensive line?
And those were free running guys.
2 guys, 2 plays, 2 sacks.
Right.
So it's like, what are we doing?
He was getting smoked. He got hit 5 times on 6 dropbacks, and he got sacked 3 times.
Yeah, it's like, what are we doing?
So
here?
it's like, give me a break.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't handle it.
But he's not a big guy. He's an average, slight kind of guy.
Hey, I've cracked my ribs. Okay, I've cracked my ribs and I bruised my ribs, and that is a very unpleasant injury.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Very
so it hurts.
unpleasant.
You can't breathe. You can't move. You can't do anything. It sucks.
You can't fart.
No, it sucks. Well,
Dude, literally, listen.
I can always fart.
The time that I cracked my ribs when I was wrestling, and being a big guy, a big wrestler, and I was up against a smaller guy. So, to make things believable, you have to miss, and then have the smaller guy take over, and you have to beat yourself up to help the guy beat you up. So I go for the big splash in the corner, and my mental mistake was I didn't commit to either the front or the back. I hit the side. Because you hit the side, it's not too bad. But the turnbuckle didn't really have enough padding in the top, or the padding was a little worn out. And I hit, because underneath the padding, there's the rope that, in most of them, they're either joined by 2 couplers and a hook, or the rope goes through, and that's why it's a turnbuckle. I caught that turnbuckle in the ribs, and it cracked my shit. And I literally, 2 days later, funny story, 2 days later, I'm sitting in my chair. I'm suffering, but I'm sitting as still as I possibly can. And then all of a sudden, pain radiated, and I didn't lean, I didn't do nothing, I just went. But because of, I guess, the involuntary flexation of butt muscles or whatever,
awkward.
When you fart,
Yeah, there's a lot going on in there.
I felt it.
Yeah, that's
in my ribs. I'm feeling phantom pain right now just remembering it.
Yeah, I do that too when I eat hot sauce, or when I'm about to eat hot sauce, I sweat without eating the hot sauce. So these memories are very strong.
Oh, try treating it by smoking copious amounts of marijuana, okay, and then coughing. I stopped smoking. I stopped blazing because it was hurting to just go, and everybody, when they smoke that shit, they, you don't cough, you get off. I mean, it hurting your ribs, I would almost prefer to break a bone in a limb. Break an arm, break a leg.
Cut off a pinky.
Cut off a pinky. Yeah,
You
do the
don't
Ronnie
need 'em.
Lott.
You don't need pinkies.
Do the Ronnie Lott, I mean.
Although he's upset about that today. If you ask him.
Stop.
He wished he had that finger back.
So Tua is now on injured reserve. He's not eligible to come back for 3 more weeks.
But
I totally agree with the move.
It'll be longer.
I know. I know this because, dude, it took me 2 months to be able to.
Yeah. That's 3 weeks before he's eligible to come back. He's got to get on the field and practice. Right. He's got to take a few hits. He's got to be able to get.
There's a bye week, and then so it's going to be more like 4 weeks, and then they play Jacksonville, which is another bye week. I think that they're good enough to beat Jacksonville.
Right.
So.
Well, here's the thing too. It depends on where the Dolphins are. If Dolphins are sitting 1-5 at that point.
Yep.
They're going to be going, well, this is a rebuild. Let's just kind of take our time with Tua and let's try and get this guy and that guy and this guy, and then it's
the end.
Then it's quicksand.
It's the end.
It's quicksand.
If he cannot come back from this and redeem himself, if he is stuck on the IR 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the rest of the season, can't make it back, he's done. He's done. I hate to say it. Like I said, I like the kid. Nobody is cheering for number 1 more than me, but this is a results-driven sport, results-driven league, and the Miami Dolphins right now are sitting there as one of the lead teams interested in Deshaun Watson. So now is the time. If Chris Greer or even Stephen Ross, Mr. Billionaire, if they have not devoted their assets, their abilities, their connections to find out what the real latest deal is with Deshaun Watson. I mean, call his lawyer. Call his opposition's lawyer.
Listen, they've talked. This guy knows that guy. Let me find out.
You have to pull the trigger. You have to get that guy. If they say nothing's going to be done until after he gets indicted, his indictment hearing in February, nothing's going to get done. Okay, then nothing's going to get done. Then make the trade for the guy. Put some conditions on next year's draft choices.
If they're going
secure the asset, like they say in the real estate business, secure the asset, secure the property.
First of all, he's no longer an asset. Okay. Federal indictment rates are about 95%. Right. So if he's on the road to a federal indictment, if this is what the process is right now, he's done.
Their due diligence should show it out.
He's done.
And if that's the situation,
if he beats the federal indictment, he's still going to be facing league suspension.
We're screwed.
I should say best case scenario
trade
for Watson
Rodgers
is he is 2 years away from being on the field again. That's best case
for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, it's over. So unfortunately, and next year's quarterback draft is not as strong as this year's quarterback draft or the year prior.
Okay, there's another one for you. Bleacher Report. Can we have a little talk?
Yeah.
Okay, with the mock drafts for next year. They mocked the first 2 rounds for next year. They had 6 quarterbacks going in the first round. I said, are you guys on drugs?
Wow. Next year? I don't even know there are 6 quarterbacks that can play.
6 quarterbacks going in the first round and a 7th one going at the top of the second. Sam Howell. Are you people on drugs?
It's crazy.
After what we just saw this season with how many quarterbacks were drafted in the first and second round, okay, and that are playing, okay, and the quarterbacks from the previous year that are playing
pretty well too.
Okay, pretty well. Okay, you're going to sit here and you're going to jump out and say there's going to be 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. For whom? We have really good starters that are going to be moving around. Okay, the numbers game.
The league's in pretty good shape with quarterbacks. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about this too. The quarterbacks are coming out now ready.
Right.
And it's a different game now. The quarterbacks are more athletic.
These kids aren't talented.
No, they're ready.
But it's a matter of need. It's a matter of need. It's supply and demand. And right now the supply is huge. Okay, let us think back to 2 years ago when everybody was drafting quarterbacks. Okay, and 3 years ago, Jake Fromm, remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the guy who beat out Justin Fields at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
where's he?
And third string behind Mitch Trubisky in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, third string.
Yeah, well, there's still misses.
Okay.
Listen, quarterbacks going in the first, just because you're taken to the first round doesn't mean you're a hit. We know that the history of successes for first-round quarterbacks.
Look at Jake Eason. Okay, he has a chance to start because Carson Wentz, sprained both of his ankles stubbing a pinky on his coffee table on his way through the house to pee in the middle of the night. Why he has to pee 5 times in the middle of the night at the age of 26, I don't know. But the dude is brittle. And Jacob Eason, a guy who was bandied about as a second-round draft choice for the Miami Dolphins when he came out. Okay? So what I'm saying is there are a glut of quality quarterbacks. And now you're going to sit here and tell me that teams that have one, if not two quarterbacks, they're going to blow a first-round draft choice, even if it's in the 20s, on a quarterback that's going to sit on the bench?
No.
No. So, Bleacher Report. Wake up. Hello.
I use Pro Football Focus anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
PFF is really good.
Just before we get to DFS, I just picked up on something. We talked a little bit about earlier about making the game safer and about how you want your best guys on the field, but
Sissies.
and fines and stuff like that. Well, I just picked up. These are the fines from just last week alone. Okay, there's about a dozen of them here.
Oh, for taunting? Don't get me started about taunting.
From everything from unsportsmanlike conduct, Trey Turner was fined $15,000 after spitting at an opponent. Okay, that's pretty serious. That's pretty serious. But
That's your boy.
$15,000, Trey Turner. Now, linebacker Kenny Young, $12,000 for making contact with an official. So I guess if you punch an official, it's worse than spitting on him, which, okay, whatever. Or not worse, actually, according to the fines. You have fines for roughing the passer, illegal hits. And these are expensive fines. $15,000, $12,000, $10,000. Again, these guys make a ton of money, but that's a pretty good chunk of change. So it's not just a question of making the game safer, but you got the fine police reviewing tape week after week, cha-ching, cha-ching, trying to, build those coffers, those NFL coffers.
Oh, my God. Yeah, because they're broke.
Well, I mean, although I'm hoping, and I've read this in years past, most, if not all of that fine money goes throughout the different organizations the NFL partners with. A lot of charities. They're very good about that.
March of Dimes, all of those.
Charge these guys for everything. If their shoelaces aren't in the right direction, hit them for 10
You're
grand.
homogenizing the game. Now, granted, some of those violations were pretty heinous.
They're pretty egregious. Yeah,
pretty unprofessional, if you will.
Yeah, but it's football.
But I don't like the taunting thing. The taunting thing is getting a little too sissy. I mean, they're turning into Karen and stripes and zebra stripes.
I agree 100%.
I mean, zebra Karens.
It's an emotional game. It's a physical game. It's hard to turn those things off. Taunting is what? Is like I hurt your feelings by what I said?
Yeah, you turn and you shout directly at your opponent after making a play on them.
I understand.
Like standing up and going, yeah, bitch.
Optically, it's not great. I get it. But it doesn't dominate the game. Right. It's situational stuff. You crush a quarterback. It's a third down play. You get your team off the field. You're going to be excited. You're jumping in the air. You're probably screaming.
Right.
That's not taunting.
Sure.
You bury a guy and he's motionless on the sideline and you're over his half-dead body.
That's taunting.
That's a fine.
That's
okay. That's a problem. Yeah. So, again, it should be the eyeball test. It should be somewhat subjective. You should look at something and go, okay, that's not right.
I mean, in 2015, what is this, 2021 now? Yeah, so 6 years ago, 6 seasons ago, they literally had a memo go out circulated throughout the NFL about racial epithets, however it may be. Racial epithets were taken off the table completely.
I bet.
Okay, I mean, remember Russell Okung? He was like, "Oh, somebody was calling me a crazy Chinaman or something like that."
Your own Dolphin, Richie Incognito. All the problems he had with his own teammates.
He was getting homophobic with a kid.
Yeah.
And I mean, but racial epithets and epithets of personal nature came right off the board in 2015.
Yeah.
And sure.
The language in the NFL has definitely changed.
Yeah, I mean, you're professionals. Start acting like professionals.
I'm okay with that.
But when you're celebrating a big play and you're not necessarily, doing the gritty dance over somebody's prone body.
Yeah, I get it. That's fair.
But, turn around and saying, ha, that's not celebrating. That's not taunting. The same way that, what is it, Tariq Hill with his peace sign thing. Okay, peace. I scored. Thanks.
Let him go.
Nothing about your mama. Yeah. Nothing about the color of your skin.
My back's been killing me all day. Why? Because I've been carrying around your mama all day. Yeah, see, that sort of stuff.
Here come the mama jokes.
I'm sure you don't want to go there. So I get it.
It's like I scored 2 touchdowns on you and 1 on your mama.
That's right. Take
okay,
that.
So on to DFS now that this is before this really devolves into a whole deuces type of a thing. But your mama.
Your mama.
Daily football.
What is
Daily
that?
fantasy.
Who does that? Leagues too. Or
It's
leagues are in
been-
full
and
swing.
leagues too. We'll do leagues too, but right now we're
So
going to
start 'em.
All right. Well, you want to start with leagues? Here's a good one for leagues. Go to the Guru's Guru on Facebook, okay? Because the Guru's Guru decided to do two things bad at the same time, and I'm reluctant to reward him for this, okay? But not only did he text me during the show. But he group texted me during the show, which I fucking hate.
Which
group
means you're
texts.
getting responses.
I hate group texts.
I understand.
Hate them. Hate them.
Well, you know what? Here's what we're
hate
doing.
them like funerals. I hate them.
Here's what we're doing for Russ.
Okay.
Man. I'm calling Russ out.
And so go to the Guru's Guru, and there's a poll on the Guru's Guru for Roscoe Hen, the Guru's Guru, one of his clients, if you will. They have a poll. So answer his poll. And then if you have his phone number, text him and say, Gonzo said you're a jerk off. Because
Two Fs.
he texted me during the show and group texted me during the show. I'm going to go throw his stuff off the balcony. You go ahead and take over from here. I'm going to go grab all of his clothes and throw them over the side.
All right. Go ahead. I'll wait. Yeah,
I
Russ.
can't throw the TV in his room over the side because that's my TV. He's borrowing it.
Listen, we love Russ. We know that Russ.
I like him.
Well, yeah. Well, is he not indoctrinated into the love yet just because of the longevity at which he's been involved in your life? I mean, it's
I'm
like
being
almost,
hyperbolic and bitchy, but I'm still going to go throw his shit off the balcony.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So, all right, we got DFS to talk about. So, quarterbacks today. Anybody you like in particular? Anybody you're chasing in particular? Guys
Speaking
you
of
like?
Teddy Box of Donuts.
Give me your one quarterback today.
Speaking of
It's gonna
Teddy
go off.
Box of Donuts, give me all of Teddy Bridgewater.
Boom, mic drop. Teddy
Give me
Bridgewater.
Teddy.
Is he playing for his job in week 3, knowing that
no.
there's another quarterback
No.
coming next year? No.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, he's not.
No pressure, Teddy?
No.
Just stand there and deliver?
No.
All right.
He's fine.
Go.
He is without his primary deep weapon, Jerry Jeudy, who's been put on IR because all Alabama players are brittle.
Oh, boy.
Well, look at Henry Ruggs. He just had a coming out party last week. But anyway, give me Teddy Bridgewater at home against the New York Jets. The New York Jets defense, they're okay.
Not on the back end, they're not. On the
not on the
front
back
end
end.
is their strength in the defense.
Right.
Yeah. So running the ball is going to be an issue.
And what's one of Denver's strengths? Strength on strength.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll call that a stalemate. They may make some plays, but that's a stalemate. Give me Jimmy G. Give me Cortland Sutton. Give me Noah Fant. Even give me some Tim Patrick.
Any Denver guys.
Give me and definitely give me either one of those running backs.
You're all Denver today.
I think it's Javonte Williams' week to score a touchdown.
Okay.
Even if it's short yardage, big boy's going to score.
I got him in one of my
They're
one of my
splitting time
leagues.
like crazy. I think that Teddy B is going to have an above average day, and I think that is such a likelihood. It's such a lock. There may be more. There may be few quarterbacks that score more. There may be a few quarterbacks that score less. That'll be a surprise. But I think that one of the reasons why he won the job is consistency and accuracy and judgment and not panicking and not making the same mistakes that Drew Lock makes. Lock has got a cannon for an arm, an absolute rifle. Okay, but
Where's it going?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, where's it going?
He's being chased.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
made some really poor decisions, too.
When Teddy Bridgewater is being chased, okay, he only has two decisions: throw it to a blatantly wide open guy, or throw it to the water boy. Throw it out of bounds, throw it away, or okay, he sees a guy break open. But the decision process isn't, can I fit it in? Can I get it over the linebacker's head and in front of the safety where only my guy can catch it?
Yeah,
Teddy's not taking those chances.
He's progression read.
He's living to
dump.
fight another day.
Yeah, progression read dump. progression
Okay,
read,
I
dump.
mean,
Yeah.
and it's some teams that's a successful situation, but you have to have an extraordinary quarterback.
it's only a couple of Brett Favres
And
out there.
yeah,
to make that
exactly.
happen,
There's
so,
Mahomes.
yeah.
That's it. So you're getting a consistent guy who makes good decisions against a defense that is in disarray right now. They only have one strength, and that's they're along, Quinnen Williams and all those guys up front, and that's it. Leonard Williams, I think, plays for them too now, or no? Leonard Williams plays with the Giants on the other side of New York. But yeah, give me some Teddy Bridgewater all day.
Okay. Okay. I like Teddy. I like Denver. I think they're going to overachieve this year. I just think their offense is a little conservative for me for DFS. And again, going against the Jets today, where the Jets really aren't going to put up a lot of points.
Excuse me, it's called balanced.
Well, okay, but again, you don't want balance in DFS. You want high ceilings. So when they're going against a team that's not going to put up a lot of points against them, there's not going to be a need for Denver to push the ball as well, I think, through the entire game. I'm looking at a game where I think it's going to be a shoot. I think the Seattle-Minnesota game today goes way over the total.
I agree.
I am, even though Russell Wilson has lost, I think, one road game in the last 2 years, for fantasy purposes, I don't care about wins and losses. I want points. So Seattle will be ultra competitive in that game, regardless of game script. And Minnesota, again, will either have to chase points or will be keeping pace with Seattle. Either way is pro fantasy, pro DFS. So I am on Mr. Kirk Cousins today, who through the first 2 weeks, I think he's averaging about 23 fantasy points each week, which is top 6 or 7, I think, overall. That's pretty good for me. And I'm going to pair him up with Adam Thielen, who is just a slot monster, and it looks really good through the first 2 weeks. He's getting a ton of targets. So that's my marriage today, is I'm on Mr. Kirk Cousins and Mr. Adam Thielen. I like to do that because I feel like that if you can hit one of your guys, you'll get the other. Especially when you're doing quarterback-receiver combinations. Because if Adam Thielen has a good day, more than likely Kirk Cousins is going to have a good day and vice versa. If Kirk Cousins goes off and throws for 350 yards and a couple of touchdowns, I feel pretty confident that Adam's going to catch one, at least one. So I'm on that team today. Now, again, Seattle may win that game today because, man, they can score. But I think they have 1 sack on the year so far in the first 2 games. So Kirk's going to have some time. And time means throwing the ball down the field and making big plays. And that's what I'm hoping for DFS today. So go Minnesota Vikings. Take the over in that total today.
Okay, well, another shootout that's going to happen is the Los Angeles Chargers visit Kansas City.
Woohoo!
Pew, pew, pew.
Chargers can't stop the run, and the Chiefs can't stop anybody. Yeah. The only thing that keeps that game from going over the total is mistakes. Red zone turnovers, crazy stuff like that. Or, a drive will bog down. I don't think they'll bog down on the Chargers side because, again, Kansas City's red zone defense, worst in the league last year, not much better this year. They're going to have to score a ton of points. So that game I feel like is going to go over too. I do have a piece in that game. I have Mike Williams in that game. And I was debating about going to Hilaire. Only because, again, the Chargers are not good against the run. Normally, teams that have a good pass rush, you negate that pass rush by running at the pass rush. And there's some injuries still on the Chargers side. So
Joey Bosa.
I think the Chiefs are going to try and move Hilaire or have Hilaire move that offense today. So I'm a little bit on Hilaire today as well. So that's my side today. But you're right. Chiefs, that game goes over, I think, as well. Who else do I like? I think Calvin Ridley gets in the end zone today. I talk about regression. It's a term that I beat to death. You find a baseline, and then guys go above it, guys go below it.
Well, Ridley's the only healthy wide receiver in Atlanta right now.
He hasn't gotten in the end zone through the first 2 weeks. Atlanta doesn't look like they're taking a ton of chances. We were concerned about that because of the offensive coordinator and his track record from Tennessee.
True.
Very conservative, run the ball a lot. I get it.
Arthur. His name is Arthur.
Arthur and Gutekunst. 2 names you shouldn't have in football. I just think that Ridley's due. I think Ridley gets in the end zone today. So, I mean, listen, they're 0-2 Atlanta. I didn't think they're going to be good anyway. But again, wins and losses, don't care. We need points.
Why can't you just be Art?
We need fantasy points. So
why can't you be Art? I mean, you had Art Rooney, not Arthur Rooney. You had Art Rooney.
Art Rooney, yes.
Okay. You had Art Modell, not Arthur Modell. You had Art Odell.
Right.
Okay. It's the NFL. 3 letters works better.
Right.
Art.
Right.
Not Arthur.
The only Arthur I knew
was
ever any good was Dudley Moore.
There you go.
That's the only Arthur that I ever cared about.
You're a hooker.
I thought I was doing so well. She's a queen.
Right.
Of the island. Last week they carpeted the island. It's small.
Okay, so
it's very
we
small.
can do this all day. Careful.
Very small.
Don't go down that rabbit hole. Okay, come back to us.
Wait.
Come back to us. Okay, so we are going
It's a goner.
It's a goner.
It's a goner.
Yeah, Hobson, draw my bath.
You little shit.
Yeah, I am, and you'll alert the media as well.
Remove your hat, sir.
So, moving on to leagues.
Kickers suck.
Kickers suck.
Don't draft a kicker
Don't draft a kicker.
unless you have to.
But league-wise, what are we seeing now?
I'm in the middle of the pack in my leagues. 3 leagues. Let's see. 0-2, 1-1, 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, I got 2 1-1s and an 0-2.
Right. Well, okay, so who's going off today for leagues?
Well, I am not crazy about my individual matchups. I've got some injuries I'm dealing with. I have Barkley. Oh, please.
What? I have Barkley in one of my leagues as well.
Yeah, he's kind of hurt. Now, again, I knew what I was getting with that the first few weeks in the injury.
Right.
Okay, whatever. So hopefully he'll get in the end zone today. That'll help me a little bit. Again, my DFS is where I'm at. Too bad I can't take my DFS and put it into my season-long leagues. I think I'd have a pretty good day today.
I think Barkley's due.
Oh,
Okay.
he's 100%.
You have a plethora of players right now after 2 weeks that you just see they're due. They're due.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, you've had some players that have gone off, but you have players that are due. I think one of them is A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
I think another one of them is Saquon Barkley. I think he's very due.
From your mouth to God's ears.
I think your boy Najee Harris
Forget it.
is due.
He's due. He's due to.
He's due.
All right.
He's due.
You're right. He's due. He should get in the end zone
He's
this year.
due.
So he's due. The team sucks, but
Okay,
he should
there
get in
are
the end
guys that are just due, and they're one of them. He's due.
zone. Yeah. Somebody give Teddy Bruschi a sandwich. He looks thin.
You know, here's another one for you. Cortland Sutton. Through 2 weeks, he has had great numbers, great targets, great target share,
Hasn't gotten in the end zone.
great catches. Last week, he had, 137 yards?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
How many touchdowns? 0. Goose egg,
Yeah. Nothing.
bagel.
You got nothing. Joey Bosa is active.
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 Oh, good for him.
Joey Bosa is
Okay,
active.
Quit
Quit
watching
watching
TV.
Sorry, I'm trying to help the show. Joey Bosa
Trying to help. We're
active.
helping you.
He's active.
Well, yeah, the injury report actually came out at 11 o'clock, so there's a lot of the latest injuries. What else you got over there?
I'm just watching the actives and inactives. That's all. Frank Clark, inactive defensive end for the Chargers. But we said that already. Chargers are going to be hurting on
Right.
defense a little bit. So
Right.
go Edwards Hilaire.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
Yeah. I think he gets in the end zone today. He hasn't gotten in there either. So
All right. Well, I think we've come to the end of our rope. It's 12 o'clock.
we haven't talked about aliens in weeks.
All right. And I've avoided it because when we were in Las Vegas,
Did you see something and not tell me?
every time that we took a break from the strip and we came back to the Airbnb, which, by the way, our Airbnb was fantastic.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Okay, it was a 2-1 with all wood 4-laminate floors, nice little porch with wrought iron furniture. It was beautiful. It was like $137 a night plus fees,
Which were a lot.
which is a lot.
A lot of fees.
But it was great. And it had free Netflix. And you subjected me to this. What was the name of the series? It was the
Could have been
something
either
files or
unclassified UFO something or
no,
other.
it's Black Flag Files or some
I
crap
don't
like
know.
that.
There's so many of those shows. I watch them all.
Oh my God! But okay, I totally agree with the concept that if we had found aliens already, and we got a hold of their tech, we reverse engineered it. That's how we went from having regular planes to having stealth planes and regular helicopters to what we have now. Okay. And I think that the military will be wheeling out more. Because let's remember, everything that there's a military application for, there can be a commercial application for.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? Who do you trust more these days? Do you trust the military and the government, or you trust the civilian population? I kind of lean towards
trust
this.
none of
Well,
you.
I mean, but if I had to choose, I'd almost choose the civilian population. But anyway, go ahead.
So I totally believe in that. Oh, and one more football related thing before we leave.
Speaking of football,
Switch back to football.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are taking on the Raiders today, which the Raiders organization is an organization that I've grown to love to hate. I've grown to love to hate them.
even though they've been so irrelevant over the last many years,
They're a lot of fun. They're, the autumn wind. The autumn wind is a pirate. That whole deal. Which, by the way, John Facenda, not in the NFL Hall of Fame. What are you guys, idiots? But the whole thing with the Raiders for me extends back to 1974 Kenny Stabler, Clarence Davis catching that miracle touchdown pass at the end of the game to spoil the Dolphins' run to a fourth straight Super Bowl. And trust me, they would have smoked Minnesota again in the Super Bowl. And that was also the last game before Zonka, Kick, and Warfield beat feet for the World Football League. So Clarence Davis and Kenny Stabler, screw you guys forever.
Wow.
Ever.
That hurts.
If I see you in heaven or hell, I'm going to go. And
tell us how you feel.
And I'm gonna text all my Raider. I have a lot of Raider fans, friends.
That's a long time ago to be holding on to that.
It's traditional.
We'll talk after the show.
I'm holding it.
I have a number I'll give you.
Okay, so back to aliens.
Yes.
Again, do you have anything else to add with the aliens?
Let me look outside real quick.
Nope. They're not out there. No,
not that I can see. But they're there. They're just cloaked.
If there were aliens, then the Canadians who came 2 months early, by the way, and I know you can hear me. They would complain about the aliens. They'd be, hey, we're the only aliens allowed to be here.
I watched Men in Black again the other day. I was on, so I ended up watching a good part of it with my daughter
Right.
and stuff like that.
Well,
And
you know, a person is rational and understands what you're talking to, but people are just
People are just scared,
frightened, irrational creatures.
yes.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy at the mini mart there in the corner is from Zepapam or wherever he could be from.
Oh yeah,
I
listen.
mean, there's a lot of places these guys can come from.
I've heard of just about every organized country in the world, but I have never heard of Zingblubbenbop, much less Zingblubbenbop 4. It means that there's at least 4 of them. So
a lot of places to hide out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the guy who runs the Chevron station down at the end here on Power Line Road and North Course Drive,
I'm concerned.
we know about you.
Yeah.
We got you.
I'm on it.
All right, and that, and I have a Lebanese restaurant, which is right over there, too, which is, I don't think that's actually Lebanese food. I think that's alien food.
It could be.
Yeah, well, we're in a highly transient neighborhood here, so.
Well, the cat population's decreased dramatically in Pompano. I heard 40%.
Cats and ducks.
Yeah, so there you go.
So there you go. They find the Egyptian geese.
Bob Barker would be proud. Yeah, spade neuter your pets.
Or eat.
Or just give them to the Lebanese. Either one. One you pick. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, screw you, Planet Fitness, too. Planet Fitness sends me a text message. What the hell?
That's it. I'm going there now.
It's bad enough I chastise myself for not going to the gym 4 days a week.
Interesting how we're talking about UFOs. You get a text from Planet Fitness.
I'm telling you.
There's a relationship
What
there.
the hell? All right, listen, I got to go put together a 4 o'clock DFS lineup and let you guys go. So we'll see you guys next week. Actually, we may not see you next week, because I'm going to the Miami Dolphins Indianapolis Colts game.
Nice.
And I'm taking my brother for his birthday. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Here on YouTube. Say goodbye to the nice people.
See you later, guys.
You can see that guy on Instagram at MLBJoyUs.
Yeah, or just come to my house. You'll see
Or
me
just
there
come to
too.
his house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll
maybe
probably be in
mowing
the
the
man
lawn.
cave today. No, I don't mow
Laying
the
by the
grass.
pool.
Maybe laying by the pool.
Maybe. And, of course, you can search Gonzo Radio on any platform you like, and there you'll find us. So on behalf of myself and the MAZZ, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, because I'm going to a football game next week. Bye.
Peace.